Hello and welcome to this week's session. For those of you who are already aware of my page, Crystal Wolf Qigong and Mindfulness, you will probably have seen that. I hope you will have seen the post I put up yesterday, basically putting out what I hope is a tempting offer. I currently have about 18 or so people who've liked my page. What I've said on there is that if I can get to 50 likes, that I will actually run as a one-off, a special 1 hour session where I go through the entire Shibashi set that I normally teach in my classes. So if that's something that you'd like to see, like my page, tell your friends about this, get them to like the page. Okay. The eagle-eyed among you will have spotted that I'm dressed very casually this morning. That is done quite deliberately. And I'm also going to put out a small apology that I've got a fairly noisy cat in the room with me at the moment. So I apologise in advance if the cat gets vocal, which she can do at times. But what I want to talk about in today's class is how you can incorporate not necessarily the full set, but the principles of what we do in these sessions into daily life. Because it's all very well to set aside half an hour and be able to shut yourself away in your room and do all those things. But the fact of the matter is that life always gets in the way and you don't always have time to do these things. And I sometimes feel that, when I specifically appear wearing, sort of what I normally wear to teach, which is one of my t-shirts and trousers or shorts, I'm kind of giving you the impression that that's kind of what you've got to wear to do it properly, which is, of course, complete nonsense. What I am wearing now is what I'm normally wearing when I do my personal practice. The thing about what you learn in these classes isn't always that you find, sort of half an hour when you can, be on your own, when you can, wear really loose clothing and, sort of stand and wave your arms around and do the breathing. It's that practice that I hope you manage to do at least some every day gives you techniques that you can use in daily life when it starts throwing lemons at you. Because while setting aside time every day to do things like mindfulness, qigong, yoga, whatever it is that you feel works for you, is important. The really important thing is that when life decides to throw lemons at you, the cat gets sick, the car goes wrong, the oven stops working, the washing machine stops working, all these things that we know that can happen in an instant and just make you go, that you've actually got the techniques that means that when it happens, you don't just go, and really stress. You may go, but then you think, okay. You just take a minute or two to breathe so that you never let those kind of events stress you to the point where it's really raising the blood pressure. You automatically, after the initial reaction, which almost everyone's going to have, go kind of right, okay, let's just breathe. What can I do? A lot of the problems that we have in today's society, a lot of the chronic problems, are caused by continual low-grade stress. Medical science is showing that this is actually due to continual low-grade inflammation caused by your immune system that actually helps you fight infections, which obviously you need to be active. But if it gets overactive, it can cause these low-grade chronic inflammation that we're beginning to recognise is at the root of an awful lot of the illnesses that plague today's society, like high blood pressure, like diabetes, and like depression. There is now good evidence that a prime cause of depression is actually inflammation in the brain, a very low-grade inflammatory response in the brain. And we know that the sort of things that I'm teaching you, like mindfulness, this mindfulness-led breathing that goes with the Qigong, we know that they can have a very profound effect on an important nerve called the vagus nerve, which is a major controller of your immune system. So if you get in the habit of regularly thinking about your breathing and just saying, right, okay, this has happened, I don't like it, but let's just take a deep breath, which is a very Qigong thing to do. You're not only helping yourself cope with the immediate situation, you are actually taking steps to prevent yourself from getting some of these long-term chronic illnesses that plague our society so much. So today is all about just doing what you can when you can, dressed however you're dressed, and just doing what suits you in the time that you have available. And I've ended up talking for rather longer than I intended to do, because this is something I feel really, really passionate about. I do feel these are important concepts to get across. So I hope that you are in a position to say, right, I can set aside, sort of 30 minutes to listen to Sally Rabbit on and copy what she does. If you can't and you end up having to watch it in bits and pieces, that's fine. If you kind of have to watch it, one move at a time in bits and pieces, and then setting aside another 5 minutes at a different time to do the meditation, that's fine. You're doing something and you're practicing things which will be useful to you when life decides to throw lemons at you. At least that's how I look at it. And as you can tell, I just feel quite passionate about this. So I think that's enough talking. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. Oh, right. So get yourself into your space where you're going to do the moves. Make sure that you've got somewhere also where you're going to be able to sit to do the mindfulness meditation. As I say, if you can do it all in one go, fantastic. If you can't, just do it as and when you can. So, as you can see, what I'm wearing is very loose and relaxing, which is actually better for Qigong than the shorts and trousers I sometimes wear, which can be a bit constricting. So take time, get yourself into your good bear stance. So if you're standing, feet are hip width apart, knees very slightly bent, back nice and straight, neck nice and straight, and tuck your chin in a little bit so that your chin is parallel with the floor. If you can, engage these core abdominal muscles by doing a slight pelvic tilt, because just standing in that posture is really good for you. If you're seated, try to make sure that your feet are still a hip width apart, and you can still try and do the pelvic tilt to engage your core abdominal muscles. And then whether you're seated or standing, just take a moment to get used to this position. If you're standing, take a moment to send your awareness down into your feet, And just check that your weight is evenly balanced, evenly distributed across both feet, side to side and front and back. And then, before we go on to the moves, just for a moment, close your eyes and just focus on your breathing. Use your breath to tune into your body and what it needs, and tune into your mind and what it needs. And then I'd like you to imagine that the whole of your body is like the trunk of a tree. I'd like you to imagine that you can feel the branches growing out of the top, reaching up towards the sun to collect the yang energy from the sun. I'd like you to imagine roots growing out from the base of the trunk, going deep, deep into the earth, connecting you to that yin energy. But above all, really connecting you to the earth, making you feel balanced and stable. Then turn your hands so that your palms are facing backwards. And with your next in-breath, just slowly let your arms float up in front of you. And as you breathe out, just let them sink all the way back down. Find your own breath and your own rhythm for all the moves. Only move your arms as far as you can easily manage in one gentle, easy breath. And always work within 70% of your maximum capacity, your maximum ability. Of course, it's not about doing moves perfectly. It's about doing them perfectly for you. Breathe in and your arms float up. Breathe out and they sink down. And then the last time for this move, as you breathe in, your arms float up, then turn your palms inward. And then as you breathe out, just gently reverse that move. You breathe in, try to feel your chest and lungs expanding, and let that expansion be the push for your arms to move down. You breathe in, maybe you can imagine you breathe in good and positive energy from the room. As you breathe out, maybe imagine you breathe out stress or tension like grey smoke. And then the last time for this move, and with your next in-breath, bring your arms up, ready to paint rainbows. As you breathe out, dip gently on your left knee and let your right arm float down. And as you breathe in, bring everything back up to the top. If you're seated, raise the opposite heel, so I'm bending on my left knee, bending on my right knee, and letting my left arm float down. So if you're seated, let your right arm drop and let your right heel rise. And you can easily see that as your hands move through the air, they're tracing the shape of a rainbow. Maybe imagine rainbow coloured paint on your fingers, and imagine you're really painting a rainbow in the air. Breathe out, one hand floats down, breathe in and it comes back up, and then last time for this move, you breathe in, your hands meet at the top, then turn your palms outwards as you breathe out, and let them sweep down by your side. Breathe in, let your arms rise up again, and with the out breath they sweep all the way down. This move is called parting the clouds. Breathe in, let your arms float up, and as you breathe out, they float down by your side. And then last time for this move, as you breathe out, bring your hands into position in front of your abdomen. As you breathe in, gently turn from the waist to the left and let your left hand float out. As you breathe out, bring the hand back into the center and do the same on the other side. Keep those core abdominal muscles engaged with this move to make sure the turn really is from the waist and not from the hips. Keep your hips, knees and toes lined up. Breathe out. Breathe in, one hand floats out. Breathe out and it comes back into the center. And then the last time for this move, breathe in, bring your hand back into the center. As you breathe out, just let your hands drop a little lower. And with your next in-breath, I want you to imagine that you're feeling around a small ball, and as you breathe out, imagine you push that ball underwater. Breathe in, feel around the ball, breathe out, push it underwater. And the last time for this move, feel around the ball, and as you breathe out, let your hands naturally come to rest in front of your abdomen or on your lap if you're seated. And just for a moment, sit or stand really still and quiet, and just let everything go. And then, take a moment, get yourself settled down and ready for our meditation. As ever, the beginning and end of the meditation will be signaled by the sound of the singing bowl. And with the first sounding of the bowl, I'd like to invite you to follow the sound of the singing bowl as it fades away into stillness and silence. follow the sound of the bowl as it fades away. And as it does, feel free to let your eyes close and just let your attention move inwards so that you focus your attention on your breathing. Just let your attention rest with your natural breath. Don't change your breath in any way. Just try to become an observer of every in-breath and every out-breath. And just notice what you notice as you breathe. And you may be aware of air moving through your nose and throat. Maybe you can notice muscles moving in your chest or in your abdomen. Just notice what you notice, letting go of any natural temptation to wonder whether you're doing it right or if you're noticing the right things. Whatever you're noticing is absolutely perfect. Just focus your mind on the simple act of breathing in and breathing out. Because right here, right now, all that matters is just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. Just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. And you may become aware that you get bored or impatient with yourself. Maybe you get feelings that you're not doing it right. And you know that's perfectly normal because you have a completely normal human brain. And that's what brains are meant to do, they're meant to think. But this isn't about trying to clear your mind. So when you notice that your mind is wandering off away from your breath, I want you to congratulate yourself because you've noticed what your mind is doing. And then gently lead your mind back to focusing once more on your breath. And it doesn't matter how many times you need to lead your mind back. As many times as it wanders away, just as many times lead it gently back. And know that every time you do so, you are succeeding in the practice of mindfulness. Just as every time you notice that your mind has wandered away, you are succeeding in the practice of mindfulness. Because right here, right now, all you need to keep your focus on is just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. Can you follow your breath all the way in? The nose and throat and down into the chest. And can you follow it all the way back out again? Maybe you notice that as you breathe in, The air is cold, and as you breathe out, that air is just slightly warm. Maybe you're really aware of muscles moving in your chest or abdomen. Just let your attention rest with whatever comes most strongly to your attention. Letting go of any natural tendency to wonder what others are noticing, and if you're noticing the right thing, whatever you're noticing is right for you. Now there is a lot of movement associated with your breathing. Now I'd like to invite you, if you can, to become aware of that moment of stillness in between each breath. And your in-breath becomes an out-breath, and your out-breath becomes an in-breath. And just for a moment, everything is still. And stillness is often associated with calmness and peacefulness. As you become aware of that moment of stillness, maybe you can also become aware that doing so is very calming. And stillness is something that can be very hard to find in today's busy world. Right now, I'd like you to notice that by anchoring your awareness into your breath in that moment of stillness, you have a way to find stillness anytime you need to. Simply by anchoring your awareness to your breath. Maybe you can imagine that feeling of stillness being breathed around the whole of your body. Right now, just let your mind rest in that moment of stillness. Maybe you can notice how the longer you anchor your thoughts and your attention into that moment of stillness, the calmer and more relaxed you can become. Now, start to let your awareness move outwards. Maybe become aware of where you're sitting or lying, and become aware of the room where you are and any sounds inside or outside that room. Gradually bring yourself back to normal awareness, but as you do, keep in your mind the thought that anytime you need to recall that feeling of stillness and calmness, all you need to do is to take your attention back and to focus your attention to your breath and that moment of stillness. I hope you found that enjoyable and relaxing. I hope that that is giving you an insight into how you can build not necessarily the full practice, but the principles of what we practice in this class into daily life to help you at those moments when life decides to throw you lemons. I always think of what I do. It's a great way to keep that recipe for lemonade in my head, and they say that's the best way to cope when life starts throwing lemons at you. So, thank you for being here with me today. If you have any ideas for things that you would like me to cover in future classes, please either PM me or leave a comment underneath this video. If you enjoy these videos and would like to support them in a slightly more concrete way, I have a Patreon page where I'm looking for sponsors. I'm only looking for $2 a month, which isn't that much. So if you could consider doing that, that would be absolutely fabulous. And sponsors will get access to to more sessions and possibly longer sessions each week. In the meantime, and the other thing you can do, of course, is spread the word about these. If you enjoy them, you may very well know somebody else who will enjoy them. And apart from that, I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all next week.